Heater is a little too effective. Okie dokie. So 3 4 point. Cool. So we are 22Q. So hopefully you've learned the basics from the small boards. Let's see. Open corners, open sides, enclosures. I recommend one space enclosures to the third line. Simply because they're easier to use at this level. So learn these first, and you can learn the large ones later. Shamari. A Shamari is an enclosure with the 3 4 points. These are considered bigger than these because the 4 4 point is still invadable. This is a Ko. So Shamari is technically bigger on this left side, but okay, no big deal. Yep, we block. The Joseki's here. This is the Joseki. Yeah. I'm really balancing. She's into a couple other things, but I told her you need to prioritize what's your priorities because we are limited on time, and she said D&D was the one that she wanted to focus on. So, we were playing video game stuff together too, because trying to do stuff with the wife, and she wanted to focus on D&D because we have to manage our interest and our time investment. This is the Joseki. So learn Joseki's on the 19x19. I really wanted to try Warhammer. Really wanted to try it. That game looks so interesting, but that was a budget, man. That game is expensive. I thought D&D's expensive. That game's expensive, man. I was very interested in trying Warhammer, but yeah. Just use Go puzzles in D&D. This cut, the cut on the outside, the one that cuts the two groups apart, is more important than a second line cut. Because this is the two groups versus this is just one stone on the side. So, small thing. No big deal. Tiger's mouth to fix your cutting point. So the first thing I want to mention is make sure that you understand cutting points are the basics of attack and defense. And if you haven't already, look at the Clossi approach. The Clossi approach says your weakness comes first, your opponent's weaknesses come second, and then big moves come third. So your weaknesses at this level are cutting points and bases. So fix your cutting points first. That is your highest priority at this level, is fix your cutting points. If you do not, you will get cut and you will get in a lot of trouble. So that's the highest priority. Good. He goes here, no big deal. I wouldn't cut this side. I would cut this side because I prefer blocking on the side to the open direction. The AI says it's okay on both, but they are different Josekis. Hello. So for simplicity's sake, I say just block on the side that gives you the open side. This is good. Block and Tiger's Mouth to fix your cutting point. So the reason you can Hane right here is because if they cut, you cut. So you're still connected. But as soon as he defends, you're no longer connected, so Tiger's Mouth. I actually thought about implementing Go, but since to make it even for everyone, I would have them roll a dice to see like to roll like an intelligence check or a wisdom check or something, and then make the NPC roll a dice, and whoever gets higher like gets a 5 point lead in the opening, and then you roll for the early middle game, and then you roll for the late middle game, and then you roll for the end game. And so you basically have 4 contesting rolls, and it's worth 5 points each roll. And then figure out like who has more points at the end of the game. I thought that'd be a fun way to throw it in there as an Easter egg. No longer at open side technically. So right here, this is a big move. So you are not at open side or open corner, open side. So you're at largest framework. So saying the left is the largest framework is fine. But our basics at this level is usually capping moves or 1 point jumps or something like that. Or shoulder hits, right? So if you wanted to build, this would be cool to build, this section of the board. This is not a good move, but basics at this level can, let us get away with this move. So you can shoulder hit to build this area, and then maybe come down and block this area. Or if your opponent comes in, you just sacrifice one, block this area. So it's very nice to build the Moyo. So a lot of these things are possible. So, but the idea is the shapes to build is usually capping moves, shoulder hits, or 1-point jumps off of something. But in this case, it's so wide, you want to 1-point jumps look a little bit slow. So this one's okay, but there are easier shapes to use or a little bit better shapes to use. All right, so your opponent comes in. So he goes in. We don't really need to learn how to attack at this point. All we need to learn is to surround when they invade us. So all you need to do is watch your cutting points, watch your weaknesses, and surround your opponent. So very easily we can run away this way. See, you attached, so touching single stones is not good. That makes your opponent stronger. So shoulder hit, and then jump, and fix your cutting point with the tiger's mouth. And your opponent will try to run away, and you just surround. And surround. And that's pretty much all you do when they go inside you is you just surround. You stay strong. You watch your cuts and connections. You stay strong and surround. Stay strong and surround. That's all you have to do to handle something like this. This one, you need to, first off, it's a nice move, so you need to watch that. And second off, it is touching. So touching usually makes your opponent stronger. Touching one stone makes your opponent stronger. Okay, so this one, you kill the stone. That's nice. He runs away. No big deal. So we're at largest framework again. So we can reduce with the shoulder hit, or we can build ours. So we can do a 1-point jump, we can do extension, we can do another capping move to get control of this area. Alright, so expand, so this is a little bit slow. Thank you for the follow, Dragon Disco Panda. Fire Dragon Disco Panda. That's an interesting name. Just imagining like a red dragon doing disco, with some sunglasses on, For some reason, it's on hind legs and doing the fist bump. I don't know. Welcome to the stream. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, no big deal. This one doesn't make much sense. It's not a big move. It's not an attack. It's not defense. So it doesn't quite make much sense. Yeah, I kind of get a little too local here. We're fighting over nothing right now and missing a ladder. Yeah, kind of fighting over nothing right now. That's can't miss Ataris. You're not an Atari, so just run away. You can also just go play a big move. Okay, this is big. Yeah, this is a big move, I guess. All right, so he goes in. So just cap to surround. He doesn't have a 2-space extension on either side, so you don't need to take a base. You just surround. So take a base, then surround. Can't make a base, so just surround. Touching single stones is bad. If you take anything from this, take away this. Touching single stones makes your opponent stronger. Touching single stones makes your opponent stronger. Why even attack the left white stone? Because attacking is very big. Attacking is the most positive exchange rate that you can do. I mean, that looks pretty nice. Here, Tiger's Mouth is a shape point. And then he fixes, and then you run away. 1-point jump to 1-point jump is usually good for whoever can wedge. So this wedge is nice because you have solid connections, they have cutting points. So usually 1-point jump to 1-point jump is not your favorite shape. Not always bad. This is not always bad. But usually it's not your first choice. Don't cut 1-point jumps. Stop trying to kill your opponent. Just surround. Just surround to make profit. Just surround to make profit. It's so much easier. This is how you die. Doing stuff like this is how you die. Because if white just goes right here, and you run, and then white plays, and you run, and white captures, you die. So you're making the game too hard. Just be simple. Just surround your opponent. Oops. This is is okay, but there are faster shapes that we can use at this level. Shoulder hits, capping moves, extensions even. Yeah, so it's a little bit slow. This is good if you need a base, but since you already have a base in the corner, you don't need another base, so it's a little bit slow for building. Kinda small, kinda small, kinda small, kinda small, kinda small, kinda small. Waiting for a big move. That's gonna get cut. Watch your cutting points. That's cool. He didn't cut. Cool, he let you cut through. But you're not making any territory. You're kind of just dying. Make some territory. He's connected. We're not attacking. Make some territory. This is all small. There we go. Well, that's kind of small too. What would I do? What would I do? Cap. Build this section of the board. What benefits are shoulder hits compared to caps? So let's take, for example, let's look on the right. So if I cap, capping is very nice for building, right? But caps can also let your opponent run this way and lead some knights moves. And if your opponent is really strong, then maybe you actually get surrounded. Maybe while you run, your opponent's too strong for the capping move. So maybe the cap isn't on the line of influence. Maybe this eventually gets you surrounded. So sometimes backing off once and going a line further that way, closer to your support, is safer. So that way you don't get cut off and surrounded, right? So it just depends on the position. The idea is we have two tools for building our influence or reducing. And we just pick the tool that works for the situation, right? And if you look at the follow-ups, you say, okay, which line is the line of influence? Which line can it be on? So shoulder hits are usually the safer way of doing it. And caps can sometimes get cut off, but it's usually better for going in deeper. So if theirs is bigger, then you can do capping moves or stuff. Shoulder hits are also nice to do on single stones because it creates a very light shape to run away. So shoulder hits to reduce is very nice. Shoulder hits to build is also very nice. Capping moves for surrounding is very nice. And capping moves, if the shoulder hit isn't deep enough and you want to get deeper, capping moves for reducing is also very nice. So it's just different options. You always want to have more than one option for the situation. A little bit unnecessary fighting here. Just want to build. Honestly, those 4 stones can die and I wouldn't care. It's not that much territory. All about territory. Cutting off your opponent is important. Cut him off. Yeah, a little bit local. So you're looking too local for your big moves. This is nice. You cut off your opponent very nicely here. Unnecessary. Fightico. Right. Build the big area. Build the big area. So your big moves can... Don't ever do that. Never run a ladder that doesn't work. That's a lot of cutting points. That is a lot of cutting points. This is also a bad shape. Don't 1-point jump that's pre-peeped. So don't play a pre-peeped 1-point jump. Because then your opponent pushes through and you have 2 cutting points. The way to get ahead is a knight's move, because then it's only 1 cutting point. However, because of all these Hanes, you can't do this in this case, so your only move is to push from behind. So yeah. This is a bad sequence. So the big things to take away from this game. Don't touch single stones. Learn the caps and shoulder hits, and learn how to and improve your big moves. Those are some simple things you can take. Another thing you can take is watch your cutting points. Can you give a 10-second explanation of peep? Yeah, so a peep is a move that threatens that's follow-up threatens let me rephrase. So a cut is a move that tries to cut you apart, right? So let's say I'm like this. A cut is a move that disconnects you, okay? But a peep is a move that threatens on the next move to disconnect you. So a peep threatens a cut. So a pre-peeped 1-point jump means I'm already threatening to cut. So it leads to bad shape. So a peep is like poking the connection. But a cut is disconnecting. So a peep is threatening to cut. Yep. Alright, so I think I gave enough for the advice of this game. Cutting points, touching stones, caps, shoulder hits, big moves. So yeah, hopefully it gives you a little bit of direction. Don't worry about learning too many things all at once. Just learn a little bit at a time. Learn Josekis. You're on the 19x19. Also, don't neglect the small board at this level. So I know you're 22Q. Usually I would like you to have played 100 9x9 and 100 13x13, or at least 50 of each, before getting to the 19x19 to learn second line cuts and how to block and blah blah blah. But I mean, if you want to play 19x19, it's a game. As long as you're having fun, you're doing it right. But just know there are things to learn from the small board, so don't neglect it.